Okay, so this is a continuation of the notes for parabolas. So, example 2 is about graphing a parabola using a table. So they're going to give us an equation, we're going to identify the vertex. Then I'm going to show you how to make a table, and we're going to plot the points and make the parabola. So like I mentioned in an earlier video, I don't have graph paper or graph on this, so some of the pictures may not be the best, but we're going to deal with it. Okay, make do. Alright, so we're going to have our first example for part 2. Alright, so this is the equation of our parabola, and if you remember from the previous video, the vertex is determined by these numbers. The generic formula says x minus h squared, so since this says plus 1, our h value is going to be negative 1. Okay, our k value here, it's supposed to say plus k at the end. Since this says negative 1, our k value is negative 1. Okay, so that means our vertex is negative 1, negative 1. Okay, so now we're going to make a table of values. We're going to put our vertex at the center of this table because a parabola is a U-shape, and your vertex is either the lowest point or the highest point. So you want the vertex to be at the middle of this table. We're going to pick some x values that are on either side of negative 1. So for instance, we're going to pick 0, 1, and negative 2, negative 3. So that's what I mean by on either side of the vertex. Okay, so now it's a matter of plugging them into the formula up here, the equation, and getting the y values. So 2 times negative 3 plus 1 squared minus 1. And that equals 7. Okay, then we're going to do the same with all these other values. I filled this out on your Google Docs, the notes for today, so I'm just going to fill in the values. You can check out that math later. So this one is 1, this one's 1, and that one's 7. Okay, so the points I'm going to plot are negative 3, 7, negative 2, 1, negative 1, 1, negative 1, 0, 1, and 1, 7. Okay, so here's our graph. It's a little crooked, but that's all right. So we've got negative 3, 7. Okay, then we've got negative 2, 1, negative 1, negative 1, 0, 1, and 1, 7. Okay, then you want to connect the dots with a bit of a curve to create the parabola. Okay, so it's going to look something like this. Alright, so that is how you graph a parabola. You find the vertex, then you put that at the middle of your table. You pick some x values on either side of the x of your vertex to create the U-shape. You plug in those x values into the equation, you do the math, and then you pull out the points. Okay, so we got one more problem like that, and then that's it for today. Alright, so this one is not in vertex form, it is in standard form. So we're going to have to find the vertex first, and then we can make our table of values. Okay, so we're going to identify A, B, and C. So A is 1, B is negative 2, and C is 3. The axis of symmetry, we've got x equals the opposite of B, so 2 divided by 2 times a, which is 1. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. So our x value is 1. Okay, so now we have to plug that back into the original equation to find y. Alright, so y equals 1 minus 2 plus 3. So 1 minus 2 is negative 1, plus 3 is going to be equal to 2. So y equals 2. Alright, so the vertex is 1, 2. Okay, so now that we have the vertex, I'm going to erase this math so I have room for my table. Okay. Okay, so like I said before, you want your vertex to be at the middle of this table, so we'll put 1, 2 right there. Okay, on either side of this, we've got 0 and 2, and then negative 1 and 3. Okay, so we're going to plug in those values to get our points for our graph. Okay, so you would have to plug these in individually into this equation to get what y equals. You can check that math out on your notes. For now, I'm just going to write the values. So we have negative 1, 6, 0, 3, 1, 2 is our vertex, 2, 3, and 3, 6. Okay, so then we're going to plot the points. Alright, so negative 1, 6. 0, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, and 3, 6. So like that. Okay, so that is how you graph a parabola. Using an equation, you have to find the vertex first. Then you put the vertex at the middle of the table. You find points on either side. And then you graph it. Okay, so if you have any questions, let me know. I think you're all doing an awesome job at this online schooling, so keep up.